Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make quite a wide formation here, and I'm hoping to hold on the flanks with the Hastati. So we'll move Hastati here that can engage the mercenary hoplites. Hello guys, and welcome to Strategos. Amongst the recent Wargaming sale, Strategos released a demo, which means that you can play this right now using the link to the Steam page in the description. What is Strategos, you might ask? It's a real-time tactics wargame much akin to the battles in Total War, but with some awesome, unique features and gameplay. Today I'm going to be jumping into a battle as the Polybian Romans up against the Pyrrhic Greeks. As you can see, there is a demo note that states that there will be over 100 factions in the final game, as well as many options to customize the battles. We're going to keep things simple to show this one off, and we're going to play on the grassy flatland with some of the default nations. So I'm going to be playing as the Polybian Romans. You can see that we're going to get access to some Equites, some Triarii, Hastati, Principes, and our opponents are going to get the Hippeus, they're going to get the Pesatyroi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not. They've got some mercenary hoplites, they've got some Greek armoured cavalry in there, Greek light cavalry, some light archers. So going to be an interesting matchup. Let's jump on in. Welcome to the battlefield. So as you can see, it is quite familiar. The controls are also familiar at the start of the game. You know, just right click drag to move your troops around to different locations. You can also alt click to keep them in the right facing. So if I want to move this unit here and hold alt, then they'll maintain their formation there, or I can just right click and drag to point them in a different direction. The way that this game works is it's quite interesting. We give orders from our generals. So first things first, we click on the command range overlay, and that will show how far our generals can give orders. If a unit is outside of this range, we will send a courier to go and give the order to that unit. Now that means that you have to take into account the travel time that the courier will take to get to the unit that it's trying to command or send the command to. And that means that some units can be delayed in their actions on the flanks. Units in this game are somewhat autonomous in that when they are within range of enemy units, they will react accordingly. So skirmishers will automatically try and run away from incoming cavalry charges. They will automatically shoot at other units that are a big threat to them. Your infantry will automatically charge once they get close enough, and so on and so forth. So the main thing that you're trying to do in this game is organize your movement and your overall battle tactics, rather than the micromanagement of telling a unit to attack or not to attack, and withdraw or not to withdraw. That's all taken care of by the AI. So what we probably want to do is we probably do want quite a wide line here. I'm probably going to keep my Principes. I need a unit of Principes like in the center. And then we'll have the Principes on the flanks. We've got the Triarii that are going to be covering our rear. So we're going to have one set of Triarii on the left, one on the right. Both of these guys can move forwards like so. And we have one extra unit of Hastati here that I might just keep further back in reserve. Or I could put them forwards and keep the Principes in reserve. That's probably a better idea. Use up the young men first, the less experienced men. Okay, cool. So that's our formation. And when we click start, the enemy force will show up and we'll get underway. So they have a line of pikemen and hoplites. So we can see that they have hoplites, all of these Pesatyroi. They've got the Hellenistic Greek cavalry as their general. And then on the flanks, they've got the Greek light cavalry, Greek armored cavalry. On the left is going to be a Hippeus with the Greek light cavalry. So that's another leader there for them. So as we can see, my general is commanding these forces that are nearby. And they will also provide a bonus to morale, which is quite important. Now you'll notice on the enemies here, they're sending their couriers to give commands to the units on the front, as they are obviously outside of their command radius. So you'll see the couriers running backwards and forwards, giving commands to these forces, and that is one of the really cool features about this game. Like, very realistic in the way that like battlefields would have worked. You know, you send someone to go and tell the general on the left flank, oh, this is what I want you to do, and then he would try and carry that out to the best of his ability. So I really like that system. There's also systems in this game where you see this impetuous charge range overlay. Units will like automatically charge, and there are certain units that will do that more than others. But for this one, let's just start with our velites. We're going to order all our velites to start engaging. Now, all of our units are currently within our general radius, and also first move, I think, is automatic anyway, because, you know, your units would have received orders at the start of the battle. We don't want these to be engaged by enemy cavalry, so I'm going to probably move up my Hastati just to make sure that those are covered. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make quite a wide formation here, and I'm hoping to hold on the flanks with the Hastati. So we'll move a Hastati here that can engage the mercenary hoplites. We'll have one in the middle that just tries to draw in all of these pikes. I have this one on the left that goes for this hoplite unit, and then our Principes can move around the flanks to engage the hoplites from the side. So we're going to try and split the line, because if we just run straight into these pikes, we're going to die. Then our Triarii will make sure that we don't get flanked by the cavalry on the back. Our Equites can do the same. And we'll have the Principes in reserve here, just in case the Hastati don't last too long. Now notice that a unit has now been disordered. That is the first sort of level towards routing. There's like steady, then there's disordered, then there's fragmented, and then there's just routed. Now the Greek light cavalry here tried to run into my velites, but the velites are going to get out of there. Unfortunately, I let the Principe get too close. So what we'll do is we'll pull back the Hastati instead, but it's worked on the right at least. Now this is light cav, so I'm going to use my velites to engage the light cav here whilst we try and flank with the Principes. It looks like they're going to try and flank into my infantry as well. So the Hastatis are having a little bit of a bad time here, but we are breaking up the line as I had planned. I just need my Hastati to come back and hopefully disengage. Now you'll notice that on the bottom left here we have different modes. Units which are well trained can be trained to like push into the enemy line or fall back in the enemy line just to create gaps in the line, but this does also affect your POA or points of advantage, and points of advantage directly determines the outcome of an engagement. So in this case you can see there's a 100% win chance, which will kill off quite a lot of these mercenary hoplites in the rear. Unfortunately, the Hastati did not last very long in that engagement on the flank there, and it seems like over here my Principes did manage to defeat the hoplites. So their hoplites are running on the left, but we were defeated on the right, so we do need to keep an eye on that. Over here, I'm going to make sure that my velites are still targeting the Greek light cav whilst we can. The Triarii are currently screening the Greek armoured cavalry. So it looks like my Principes here are in trouble, and they're going to be engaged from behind. So we're going to also charge the pikes from behind with our cavalry. My Triarii on the left flank would be best to help deal with this Hellenic cavalry, or the Hippeus there. So we're going to try and get them into a position to engage that. But all the while, we're holding in the centre. We've still got a spare unit of Principe. Might start moving them over to the right hand side because my Hastati here have all run away. Unfortunately, ally routing there is not good for my general, as the Principes were kind of allowing for the flank there. Now my Equite is caught in a frontal engagement into pikes, which is never a good thing, but we have managed to get the flanking engagement onto their general here, which certainly has its merits. There's a chance that we could kill the general, and we have routed the general, so that's pretty big for us on that left-hand side. So we're going to continue to move up, and you'll see that my couriers are going to come out here. My general, I do want to try and get them out of that engagement for the time being, but it looks like a left side route is starting to collapse their line, which has worked out very nicely. My right side plan didn't go to plan at all, but my left side plan certainly did. So that's really, really good for us, and we've actually managed to disperse that unit entirely, which means this Hastati will likely start to impact the pikes behind them. And we can force that attack if we want to make that get underway, and I'm also somewhat tempted to charge into their side with my cavalry, so we'll do that as well. We'll let my velites start to move to shoot the enemy light archers over here, and meanwhile we'll continue to walk around with our infantry from the left flank. Right flank is still holding thanks to my general here, but I'm a bit worried my general might die, so I'm going to move up the Principes to join the general here. Astarte, they can push into the back of this fragmented unit of pikes, like their line has just collapsed from left to right, and this is going exceptionally well for us. Now, in order to win, we need to rout over, I think it's 60% of their forces, and we're getting very close now as their line is completely breaking, and we're continuing to wheel around to their other heavy forces. So currently my Velite is enjoying the company of the Triarii over here, which has really, really helped us out a lot. I'm going to move the Principes to get into a flanking position to engage here, because I can't engage them from the front since my cavalry is already engaged. Now, disengaging with the cavalry, I should just put them onto recoil mode here so they try and get out of that, and if they do, then the Principes can come in and help clean up. Also, what we do want to do is get the Velites to move forwards to a location where they can shoot. They have managed to recoil away from that now, which is good. We held them as long as we needed to. Now the Principes are actually being engaged by the Hellenistic Greek cav. I might also have these ones shoot the Hellenistic Greek cav because that's the leader, and if we can break that, that'd be fantastic. All of these light units are going to be difficult for me to finish off, so we're better off focusing on dealing with this pike unit. I can sort of slowly move towards them, like move to attack and give my cavalry here an order to attack, but light infantry is actually quite fast, so they can somewhat outrun your cavalry. And with this charge coming into the rear of the pikes here, that will be a massive help for those Principes. And there it is. That's victory. And we've done pretty well there. My Hastati, they're ones that got surrounded, did break, unfortunately. So that did mess up our line on the right. They broke very quickly. So probably got some bad rolls there on the combat. Some of my Principes also broke, but the rest of my forces held very, very strong. Now I can just close this and we can carry on with the battle, and you'll see what continues to happen. There'll just be an onwards chain route from this point onwards, most likely. But hopefully this has given you guys a nice introduction to Strategos. The game, I think, has a ton of potential for large-scale battles because, as you may have noticed, the graphics aren't as like high fidelity as other games in the genre, but it does allow for massive scale battles. So that is something that I think this game could really achieve to great effect in the future. And you know, when technology gets even better and this has an upgrade with some better graphics, like maybe in a sequel, even if this game does particularly well, I just see so much potential for a game like this to just completely outmatch something like Total War in the future. So I'm really, really excited about this game. I think, you know, there's a lot of interesting mechanics here. I didn't unfortunately get to use the pushback and fallback too much. I think in this situation I'd already planned for the outflank with my infantry, so it wasn't needed so much. But when you're just facing like in a line, especially in like a situation where there might be terrain on either side that is unfavorable and you're just kind of forced into the head-on, using the pushback and fallback mode can be super, super useful. So there's a lot to consider here, and yeah, this battle may have seemed a little trivial, but hopefully gave you a great idea of what this game is potentially capable of. If you're interested in this game, the demo is available now. All you need to do is click the link to the Steam page in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.